Thanks everyone for joining, whether you're on our live stream or in Zoom with us. My name is Nathan Pacini. I am the marketing manager here at Data Science Dojo, and I do have Pavuk Chavla with me today. He is he's an official instructor at the Google Cloud Platform, as well as the founder of Data Cloud, and he's going to be giving us a presentation, crash course on modern data warehousing using the Snowflake platform. So Pavuk, before I hand it over to you, I just want to remind everyone again, if you have questions, please use the Q&A tab, and then we will be giving a certificate of attendance at the end of today's presentation. So we'll give you probably around 15 minutes to make sure you get that filled out, make sure you have the link, and then certificates will be sent out before the end of today. Yeah, so Pavuk, why don't you go ahead and get started, and then yeah, excited to have you.
Thank you so much, Nathan. It's my pleasure and honor to have everyone here. And I see people joining from different parts of the globe. So it's very exciting for me today to lead this session. And I would try my level best to share this knowledge and ensure that I can make a positive difference in your day-to-day work, day-to-day learning that you are having every day. So I can take that learning to the next level. So I am really thankful to you, you are joining this session, and I know you are very busy working on multiple things and you have other commitments also. Even then you have taken out time to attend this webinar on Tuesday, which is a working day. So I appreciate joining, you are joining this session on a working day. So let's get started. And this webinar is on a very interesting technology, which is Snowflake. And it's next 1 hour, you will be experiencing a lot of interesting facts and also hands-on around Snowflake. So just stay tuned and ask questions, participate as much as possible to get maximum value out of your participation. So my name is Pavuk Chavla, and I am an official instructor for Google Cloud, Snowflake, Confluent, and Cloudera. I have a company called Data Couch, and we are into this business for last 6 years now, and we have been training professionals worldwide in latest, greatest technologies. So today's session webinar specifically, we will be discussing various aspects. So one aspect is what are the challenges with traditional warehouses, data warehouses, and then we will be looking into what is Snowflake platform and why we use Snowflake platform. And then we will be looking into the architecture of Snowflake and what are the key components within that architecture. I'll be giving you demo on Snowflake platform. I have a trial account set up, so you can also set up your trial account, and I can let you know how can you do that. And once you set up a trial account, then how can you navigate through the Snowflake user interface? How can you look into the query plan? How can you look into the caching? How can you look into the metadata information schema? So all these things will be covered in next 1 hour. So that is our agenda. So this is much more detailed introduction about me. So it will be great if you can connect with me on LinkedIn. So there is a QR code that will be for long-term learning partnership. So I encourage everyone to connect with me on LinkedIn. In case you have any queries, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn also. I will be more than happy to answer your questions even after the webinar. So it's a lifelong partnership, learning partnership. So I have delivered session for many companies, including Google Singapore, Microsoft Bangalore, Starbucks Coffee Seattle, Adobe India, EMEA regions. So delivered many sessions across different geographies. Yeah, so different technologies, including data related technologies, machine learning related technologies. So we have transformed more than 100K participants across globe. So this is more into in-person classes, self-paced courses, as well as the e-learning modules or the virtual instructor-led sessions. So we are into Web 3.0 technologies, and we are ensuring that we are always dealing with cutting edge technologies and transforming professionals in Fortune 500 companies. So this is our goal. So these are some of the sessions that we have conducted across globe. So very first question is, what is a data warehouse? Before we go into the detailed hands-on on Snowflake, first of all, what is a data warehouse? So data warehouse is basically a central repository. And here you will see that we are able to get data from different sources. So these data sources can be your operational data sources, transactional data sources like data marts. So you are bringing data from different data sources and bringing it into data warehouse. And we are talking about primarily structured data here. So when we say data is accumulated from different sources, then this data is made useful for your business intelligence reporting, or you want to do some analysis on top of that data, or you can use that data for your machine learning algorithm. So you are making that data available in a structured way at a central place, that is our data warehouse. So this is a very quick background about data warehouse. What exactly is data warehouse before we delve deeper into Snowflake platform. So if you have any queries, questions, you can always ping it on the chat. I will be more than happy to answer those questions. But before we move on, it will be great if you have any queries, if you have anything in your mind, you can go ahead and ask. Yeah, so I'll just take pauses in between to ensure that your questions are getting answered also along with the session. Yeah. So I see there are no questions. So I'll move to the next topic, which is challenges around traditional data warehouses. So I'm not sure if you work with traditional data warehouses. I have a working experience working with different data warehouses, including Hive specifically. Like I worked a lot with Hive. And then there are other data warehouses. I work with BigQuery also. I work with other data warehouses. So those are like BigQuery is not traditional, but in general, I work with Hive and many other traditional Oracle warehouse, as well as now cloud-based data warehouses. So I'll be sharing some of the differences and experiences working with those data warehouses. Okay, great. So, database is a general term as such. You will find on a very high level, there are two types of database. So you can see this is, I'm using a whiteboard so that it is clear. So in general, you will find there are relational, let's say, databases. You must have heard about those. And if you see, there is one thing called OLTP and another thing is called OLAP. So this is online transactional processing. This is online transactional processing. So this part is like when transactions are happening on the website, then those transactions are going into this OLTP. OLAP is online analytical processing. So this part is basically for historical analysis, right? So you are using it for reporting, right? So you can have business intelligence tool connected with the OLAP. So how the process works, let's say this is a user and this user is placing an order. Let's say this is a website, Amazon. Let's say there is e-commerce website. And on e-commerce website, there is order getting placed. And then this goes into OLTP database. This is OLTP database. And then this is like a process which is running, and this is moving data into OLAP. And then business intelligence tool is connected to the OLAP, and we can fire ad hoc queries through business intelligence tools. So this can be like, here we will get the dashboards. So you can have dashboards, and on that dashboards, you can see various insights, like you can take decisions. Like these are for business users. So business intelligence is business users. So this is how the overall holistic picture is. I hope you got it, Sam, that there is a relationship between OLTP and OLAP, and there is a process. Maybe you are doing ETL or you are doing ELT. So extract, transform, and load. You are moving data from OLTP to OLAP so that you can fire queries. Yeah. So I will explain this more, but this is a quick answer to your question. Like databases, there are two types of relational databases. Specifically, I talked about OLTP and OLAP. So we are talking about data warehouses, which is here. So we are talking about data warehouse, and data warehouse is basically organizing your data in a manner so that reporting is easy. Yeah. So we are organizing data in a manner so that we can fire queries and we can get the result. So we are talking about this portion right now. So data warehouse OLAPs that we are having. Okay, so now coming back to this, so there are many challenges with traditional data warehouses. So one thing is they handle only structured data. Second thing is performance of data, like performance for large data set is usually low, or slow. It's very slow, like it takes maybe 3 hours to run a query. But if you are using Snowflake, then you can fire that query and you can achieve the results maybe in less than 3 minutes. So these are some of the case studies you will find. And even my personal experience working in different projects, I have experienced Snowflake is much more better in terms of giving the performance of the query is very fast and the latency is very low. So the storage perspective, in traditional data warehouses, storage is not infinite, but we are talking about Snowflake, in which you will see we are making use of cloud-based data warehouse where we have almost infinite storage available to us. It's not scalable, it's not elastic. So traditional data warehouses, you will find they are having a lot of limitations. The cost per terabyte is usually very high. Operational burden is very high, it's very much on the DBA, database administrators. You will find like database administrators, they have sleepless nights fixing issues in the data warehouses, traditional data warehouses. So there are a lot of things that they need to take care, like backup and restore, upgrading, patching, capacity planning, multi-tenancy, indexing. So there are so many things that database administrators, they have to see or they have to take care in a traditional data warehouse. But when we talk about Snowflake, we are basically ensuring that we are not going in that direction. We are making use of data warehouse as a service. So it's like data warehouse as a service. So it's like cloud-based data warehouse, modern data warehouse, which is overcoming all the problems that we were having in the traditional data warehouses. So after traditional data warehouses, there were other types of data warehouses which were called big data warehouses. So these big data warehouses, for example, Hive. So this particular warehouse was created in Facebook, and it was in 2008 when it was created, and it was created on top of Hadoop environment. So HDFS, and you can even run queries on HBase when you are using Hive. So this is primarily batch. Yeah, it's not for streaming data ingestion or streaming analysis. So you cannot do that through this data warehouse like Hive data warehouse, and it is built on top of Hadoop. So there are certain fundamental assumptions and there are limitations of Hadoop, and Hive actually inheriting those limitations, because in HDFS you cannot update data. So Hive also struggles a lot when it comes to updates, even though it provides you syntax to update data, but there is a lot of things going on under the hood. That means compaction going on and a lot of like delta, and then full we loaded the data, and then there is a delta record, and then delta directly being maintained, and then how the data is being merged. So it's very complicated process under the hood. So Hive query language is lacking support for a lot of features, including like indexing support is very limited. Materialized views are not there. Stored procedure support is not there. And then updating data is really painful in Hive. RDBMS is also we are having RDBMS behind the scenes, which is ensuring that we are having metadata in Hive. So keeping data and metadata in sync in Hive is really problematic. It's not easy. It's very painful. So you will experience like issues. You will get exceptions that the metadata is not in sync with data. So you have to repair table in Hive. So a lot of challenges are there with traditional data warehouses, and including big data warehouses, because big data warehouses also, they are having some fundamental assumptions. Now, what is Snowflake? Snowflake is fully managed cloud native data warehouse. Yeah, so fully managed, that means we are talking about data warehousing as a service. So one option is you buy a car. Second option is you rent a car. Third option is you take an Uber. So when you buy a car, you are investing so much. You have upfront cost of buying hardware. So when you are buying, let's say when we are buying a car, it's like you are owning your own data center. When you are owning your own data center, your own data warehouse, you are like spending a lot of money to buy that hardware, to buy the car, and you have to get a lot of approvals. Yeah, so then only you can buy. And then you are investing a lot on the licensing and everything. And then after that, there is a cost involved per terabyte, and licensing models can change based on the data warehouse that you are choosing. So what I want to communicate here is we are not into buying a car. Yeah, because we don't want to pay upfront. Yeah, we are not asking you to buy $1 million machines. Yeah, so we are saying that maybe go for rental based model or go for Uber. That means you pay for the trips that you are making, right? Rather than paying for the entire, like the car. So that's the idea here. So we are on cloud, and it is something which is very much elastic. So it is highly scalable. I will talk about the benefits of using Snowflake in more detail, but I'm just sharing with you that it is fully managed and cloud native data warehouse. So it started in 2012 in San Mateo, California by 3 data warehousing experts. So these are the 3 people who started Snowflake. And please understand, Snowflake is not something related to Snowflake schema. Yeah, it is something like 2 founders out of these 3 founders, they loved skiing or winter sports. So that's how the name Snowflake. So it's coming from there. It's not like any data model or Snowflake schema specifically, because a lot of people are confused, like, because there is a term Snowflake schema in data modeling, but we are not talking about that. We are talking about Snowflake. Like it's a, like they were fond of skiing and winter sports. So that's why the name is Snowflake. And it started in 2012. And after that, in 2014, initial customers started to onboard into Snowflake. 2015, it became generally available on AWS platform, and later on, it started to support Azure cloud as well as GCP. So it can run on 3 main cloud providers. So it's cloud agnostic. You can run it on AWS, you can run it on Azure, you can run it on GCP. So you can run Snowflake on all 3 cloud providers, different cloud provider. You can choose which one you want to go for. So a lot of times, many companies, they set up Snowflake, like maybe you are having AWS as your primary cloud provider, and then you have DR strategy, and then you have Snowflake also running in some other region in maybe GCP or Azure. So you may set up Snowflake like that. But in general, Snowflake supports 3 main cloud providers that we have, public cloud providers. So this is AWS, GCP, and Azure. So why Snowflake? So very first question is, why we are even talking about Snowflake? Very first thing is, like, it is cloud agnostic. So if you go for any specific data warehouse provided by a cloud provider, then you will be specific to that particular cloud provider only. But we are talking about cloud agnostic solution here. Second thing is, it supports modern features that cloud basically offers, because it is cloud native. So we have auto scaling functionality. That means if number of concurrent users are increasing, then you can scale up. And if load is going down, then you can scale down. You can choose, you can even schedule that on weekends, I want less load, so you can reduce the cost. But on weekdays, you want more load, so you can change the capability of the machines that you are running. Yeah, so you can schedule these things. You can have tasks in Snowflake through which you can implement such kind of optimization, cost optimization. So we have auto scaling, we have auto suspend big data workloads we can run, and secure data sharing, which is very powerful feature of Snowflake. So we have a pricing model in which we can pay for the amount of data that we store, and also how much compute we are using. When we fire the query, when we run the queries, then only we pay for the the query runtime, right? So we are not paying for running the machines, but we are just paying. So we can optimize, we can set up the functionality in a manner so that we just turn off the car. Let's say when you are at the red light, you can turn off the car because you are not right now driving, right? So you're just waiting. So same thing, when no queries are running on your warehouse, you can turn off the warehouse so that you are not spending money. Yeah, so the same thing is applicable. So you have auto suspend functionality in Snowflake through which you can optimize the cost. And as soon as you fire a query on Snowflake, then it will auto resume. You can set that functionality also. During the demo, I will show you how this can happen. So you don't have to worry about managing it, scaling it, right? So as an administrator, as a database administrator, it's really painful to manage data warehouses, but Snowflake is removing all these pain areas, and you don't have to worry about a lot of things as an administrator. So it's reducing a lot of overhead, the operational burden that we are having as a database administrator. So it is having native support for semi-structured data. This is another beautiful feature about Snowflake. You will find there is a patented technology. There is a white paper from Snowflake. If you search on internet, you will find Snowflake white paper on semi-structured data. You will find how this has been implemented. In other data warehouses, you will find semi-structured data is like a black box, and data warehouses, they cannot parse that semi-structured data field. It's like maybe blob or string. So it's not very useful in other data warehouses. But in Snowflake, the semi-structured data can be parsed by the query optimizer, and it can build very optimized plan based on the structure of your semi-structured data, the level of nesting that we are having in the semi-structured data. So that's another beautiful feature of Snowflake, that it supports semi-structured data natively. It's first-class citizen in Snowflake. It's not something which is like a black box for query optimizer, and storage is the way it is stored. It is also very much optimized. So Snowflake supports time travel. That means you can go back in time. You want to, let's say by mistake, you dropped a table, you want to restore, you want to go back in time. So there is a limitation on like how much time you can go back depending on the edition of Snowflake that you have chosen. So let's say you have an enterprise edition that we will be using in the demo. So then you can go back like last 90 days, within last 90 days, you can go back in time, and that too for permanent objects, not for temporary objects or transient objects, but for permanent objects, you can go back in time for last 90 days. So time travel feature is also there. And then we have zero copy clone. So you can create different environments. So let's say you have a prod environment, you want to create staging environment, you want to create QA environment. You can do it in fraction of seconds because it is something which is called zero copy clone. You are not copying data from one environment to another, but it is more like metadata based operation through which you can create a copy. And then the combination of time travel and zero copy clone can help you in achieving backup and restore functionality in Snowflake. So Snowflake has many features. If you give me 1 hour, then I can talk more about that. But the purpose of this webinar is to go through the overall crash course on Snowflake. So we want to see some demo of Snowflake and how to get started with Snowflake. So I will be going towards like query plans and some of the other interesting areas. So just stay tuned. But if you have any questions till now, please feel free to ask. I hope you got it, like why Snowflake is so useful and how it is helping us in achieving scalability, and elasticity, and it is cloud native. So these are all benefits of Snowflake. It's all decoupled architecture. Storage and compute, they are decoupled. So storage can scale independently and compute can scale independently. So it's very secure. So I will talk about security in more detail when we are comparing various editions of Snowflake. So we have standard edition, we have enterprise edition, we have business critical edition, and then virtual private Snowflake. So we'll see there are like different features offered by Snowflake in different editions of Snowflake. I'll show you how it works, but it is highly secure, and we'll find the various compliances that already follows, right? So we'll look into that. So in summary, in short, what we discussed till now, in other like lot of other data warehouses, you will find you are spending a lot of time in like resource provisioning. You are handling the growing scales. So you are worried that hard disk will be full, like if a lot of data is being ingested. You are worried that on festival, there will be a lot of data arriving and data velocity will be very high. So if you are working as a database administrator of traditional data warehouses, you will find these issues can be overcome through Snowflake, because in Snowflake you can focus on the insights. You are focusing on actually getting value out of out of the data, rather than thinking about growing scale, like if hard disk will be full or my machines will be less, how I will be handling the data velocity, and how you are taking care of performance tuning. So you are thinking a lot if you are working with traditional data warehouses. But when you are working with Snowflake, you focus on your business use case and get the value out of your data rather than thinking about all these operational things. So now Snowflake architecture. So in Snowflake architecture, this is 3-layered architecture. And this layer is called database layer. This layer is querying layer, and this layer is called cloud services layer. So in this Snowflake architecture, you will see in database layer, we are storing our data. So this storage layer can be on AWS, it can be on GCP, it can be on Azure. Yeah. So this is one picture that I want to show you. Along with that, I also want to show you architecture. I have few videos on Snowflake. You can watch these videos whenever you get a chance. It's there on our YouTube channel, and I can share the details about the YouTube channel. So what I want to share here is like Snowflake architecture. There are, like if I make it bigger, there are 3 layers. So one layer is storage layer, another one is compute layer, and third layer is cloud services layer. So storage layer is actually storing your data, and it's like infinite storage. You can store any amount of data. In traditional data warehouses, we struggle a lot with the amount of storage that we are having because it is a cloud-based data warehouse. So storage is not limited. So you can have data here, and then you have data for time travel also. So all data is compressed and it's in columnar format so that the querying is easier, historical data. And time travel can be performed. You can go back in time. So it's also part of the storage layer. And fail safe, you can recover data once time travel period is over, then you can request Snowflake support to recover your data. It's like retrieving data from your recycle bin. So it's fail safe period, which is 7 days after time travel period. So this is storage layer, which can be S3, blobs, or Google Cloud Storage. Now we have a compute layer. Compute layer is on demand. So that means this is horsepower. This is the place where you will be like when you fire a query, then the queries are executed through compute. So it's like EC2 machines running under the hood. If you are talking about, let's say Snowflake is running on AWS, let's take that example, because in demo also, I'll be showing Snowflake is running on AWS. So compute layer is like machines are running and they are running your queries, yeah, on the storage. And let's say you are ingesting data, you are loading data into Snowflake, then also compute layer is actually executing those load statement, the copy statements that you are having. And then we are having cloud services layer, which is always on, which is 24/7 running. And this cloud services layer is responsible for security, infrastructure management, metadata management, query parsing, optimization, and many other reasons we need cloud services layer. So this is a 3-layered architecture, and data is all shared, and this is multi-cluster architecture. So I hope you got it. Like there are 3 layers in Snowflake architecture, and this is for storing your data. This is for running your queries. And this is for your metadata, your caching, your security, your optimization of queries. Yeah, so all these things, cross-cutting concerns are taken care by cloud services layer. I'll take a pause. If you have any questions, please ask. I will wait for a few seconds.
And Pavuk, it looks like we have a couple of questions in the Q&A tab, if you can open that up.
Give me a second. Okay, so, okay, what is the difference? Okay, this is taken care, difference between database and data warehouse. I'm just getting started with Snowflake. After that, how do you go in depth into Snowflake? So I would suggest there are few videos that I have created. You can watch these videos, and I have some recordings also on the YouTube channel. So you can watch those recordings. So if you go here, can you see there is a playlist for Snowflake? You can start with that. This can be a good starting point from my perspective. This should help you, Amruta, like how to work with Snowflake. Okay, so now next question is, what skills do you believe are required before even considering Snowflake data warehouse management? So Ali, that's a good question. So you should be familiar with the data warehousing concepts as such. You should be clear about the data modeling approaches, right? And you should know some basics of SQL and RDBMS before you move into Snowflake. So if you are comfortable with basics of SQL, RDBMS, you are clear why we need data warehouses, what is the difference between data warehouse and data lake, and what is the difference between data warehouse and transactional databases, then you should be good to go and you can easily learn Snowflake. The learning curve is low. Best thing is, like, if you know SQL, then you can learn Snowflake very easily. But if you want to understand the internals, then you should basically start learning how the columnar structure is. You should start learning about the open source technologies that we are having. For example, the Parquet format in open source world, you will find a lot of similarities of Parquet with the FDN format that Snowflake is using. So Ali, this should answer your question, like relate with the open source technology, because a lot of things in Snowflake are hidden. But if you know Spark, how Spark optimization works, how the query optimizer in Spark works, then you will be able to relate with Snowflake optimizer. So that is a quick answer. Now, another question is, there are let me sort it. Okay, so I see the questions are changing. So how would the functionality of Snowflake differ in different cloud services? So yeah, so you will be going to the regions where you will see the limitations and in which regions Snowflake is available. I would suggest go to that page where you will find region specific information and cloud provider specific information of Snowflake. There is a page on the Snowflake documentation itself where you will find all the caveats and things to take care. So this is well documented on the Snowflake website. What are the benefits of Snowflake when compared to Redshift? Okay, great. So you will find I have a video on Snowflake versus Redshift. When you are going through this, you will find there is a video. And it is 10 minutes video. I would highly recommend, please watch this video. You will get an idea how Snowflake is different from Redshift. Yeah. Which querying language is used? We use Snowflake. So it's NoSQL query language, which is used, and it is very much similar to the ANSI SQL that we are having. Would I need, Rohit, I hope you got it. You got the answer, and Ali, I hope you got the answer, how Snowflake is different from Redshift. Would I need AWS Azure working knowledge to start learning Snowflake? No, it's not mandatory. But yes, when you are integrating Snowflake with like streaming pipelines, if you are building such streaming pipelines or you are creating external stages, then this knowledge will help you when you are integrating security of AWS with Snowflake. Then this knowledge will be required. But when you start learning Snowflake, you can get started very easily. But later on, you can add that knowledge and you can build streaming pipelines or external stages on your cloud provider and integrate with Snowflake. Yeah, depending on your cloud strategy that you are having. So yeah, so I will talk about the freemium option for Snowflake Freon. So we will look into that. Snowflake support OLTP modeling as well, or OL. So Snowflake is a data warehouse and it is for OLAP, for OLAP based use cases. And the storage in Snowflake is columnar, and it is good for OLAP based queries, not for OLTP based queries. OLTP based queries will be slow when you are just working with single record. It will be slow. Snowflake is not for that purpose. What is the benefit of Snowflake compared with Redshift? So there is a video. Please watch that video, Redshift versus Snowflake. And here you will find details have been given. So this is the playlist where you can watch. I can share that. Okay, so now coming back to this, I think we will continue. So we have 3-layered architecture. So we are talking about Snowflake, which is a platform, and it helps like to ingest data from various data sources. We are bringing data from different data sources, and then we are working with that data on Snowflake platform. So this platform can be used for multiple purposes. The platform is helping data warehouse engineers, data warehouse, like people who are working with data warehouse housing, for example, data analysts. It will be good for them. It is good for people who are working with data lakes. It is good for people who are having data engineering background. It's good for people who are sharing data among different departments. It is good for people who are building applications, data intensive applications on Snowflake. And it's even good for data scientists when you want to do quick feature engineering. So let me take a few more questions. I will just see, why would someone opt a cloud provider themselves come with similar options? Okay, so Jayanti, it is more about like your cloud strategy in the company. Second thing is like you need to see the cost model that you are having. Third thing is you need to see the vendor lock-in that you are having. You need to see like integration with your native cloud provider, which is your primary cloud provider, and what kind of support that particular data warehousing technology is giving. So you have to see multiple factors before choosing a particular technology as such, Jayanti. So depending on that, semi-structured data support, if your cloud provider, how much semi-structured data you are processing, and integration with your partner tools that you are having, ETL tools, like for example, you have tools related to transformation, you have preferred tools, you have already got support for that tool for next 1 year, less next 3 years, then how we are integrating with Snowflake. So a lot of factors will come into picture when you are opting for a particular data warehousing service. Yeah. So to learn how Snowflake works, would I have to integrate with cloud service to begin learning Snowflake hands-on? So you can get started. I'm showing you the demo how you can get started with Snowflake. Just give me 2-3 minutes. I will come back to this. How should I start with Snowflake if I know AWS? Yeah, so I'm going to show you that. Don't worry, more like a business decision. Yeah, business decision as well as technical things also, like the overall strategy that you are having related to the cloud data and what is your like costing. Yeah, so return on investment and how much upfront investment you want to do, and what are the partner tools that you are having, ease of integration, skill set that you are having, right? So what is the learning curve that you are having, right? So all the security, compliances, different Snowflake editions, they are having different offerings. So which Snowflake edition are you planning to use? And then based on that, you are comparing some other product, and then you are looking into pros and cons. Yeah. What requirements are needed to install, learn Snowflake? Is there free bundles? Yes, now I'm moving into that. So there are so many questions. How do we work with Snowflake? So let's go into that. So I hope you got it. Like Snowflake architecture is one single platform which can run on AWS, Google Cloud, Azure. Yeah. So let's start. Okay, so let's start with Snowflake. There are so many questions. So this is a very first page, like in case you want to learn Snowflake, so you can start with a trial edition. So you'll get free trial and you get $400 credit. So I just created one account working with Snowflake. So you can easily create one account by just registering yourself, and there is no credit card required. That's the beauty of this platform. In other cloud providers, you will find you have to give your credit card information, then only you can work with that. But here in Snowflake, you don't have to provide your credit card information. Yeah. So this is our signup.snowflake.com. Yeah. So very easy link. I can post it on the chat also. So signup.snowflake.com. And after that, you are done with the sign up, you will be inside this kind of interface. So this is our Snowflake interface, and we have two consoles. Like one is called classic console, another one is called, this is the latest console that we are having. This is a browser based console. So I'm just switching back to the classic console and we'll show you some interesting things from the classic console, and then I'll come back to the latest console that we are having, so that you can see what additional things had been added in the Snow site, or the latest playground that we are having. So this is our classic console, and in classic console you will see we have on the top right corner there is a role account admin, and account admin is the highest role. If you ignore the org admin, the account admin is the highest role. So this is AWS account that we created, this Snowflake account, AWS account. When I choose this option, so when I choose this option, I specified my details. So let's say I specified my details, I specified my email address, I specified my company name. Yeah. And after that, I just said continue. After that, it is asking me to choose edition of Snowflake. So I choose enterprise edition because standard edition has a lot of limitations, like compared to enterprise edition, and it's all free. So I thought, like, why not we go for enterprise edition? So here I'm choosing enterprise edition, and I will get multi-cluster warehouses and 90 days of time travel. So I'm choosing enterprise edition, and then I'm choosing AWS, and then I'm also choosing US West region. So AWS and US West region, and after that I just clicked on get started. So after that, I am able to get an account which looks like this. So you can see it is AWS and it is US West region, and this is my organization, and then within that, this is enterprise edition that it is showing. So this is one account. So in Snowflake, if you go to the whiteboard, you will find there is a hierarchy. So if you ignore organization, which is on top of the account, I'm ignoring that. We have this hierarchy in Snowflake. So we have, this is object hierarchy that we are talking about. So this is object hierarchy or securable object hierarchy. So we have databases, and there are other things also. We have schemas, and there are other things also. And then we have tables, views, and other things, right? So you will see that this, this database is logically grouping various schemas. This is grouping various schemas. And this is also logical grouping, and it is very helpful in multiple things. Like, for example, you want to implement security, you can have public schema, you can have information schema. So there can be different types of schema. So there is one account that we are having right now. We are using trial account in Snowflake, and that is in US West region. Yeah. And then we have tables and views and everything. So this is a hierarchy. So you'll see, like, we created one account, and then within that we can create databases. So star means many. Yeah, so you can have in one account many databases, and one database you can have many schemas, and in one schema you can have many tables, right? So there are other objects also, but I'm just sharing with you, this is a structure that you will experience when you're working with Snowflake. So coming back here, when you open this console, the classic console, and there you will see we have databases. So these databases, you can always create database through user interface. So whatever you can do through command line can be like, whatever you can do through user interface can be done through command line. So you can do it through command line, but it is not other way around. Like it may be possible that you will find the user interface is not having all the options which are available in command line. So command line is much more powerful compared to the user interface, right? So when you say, I want to create a database, you can even see the script. So let's say I'm creating a database demo, right? And I just give any comment, and then you can see the SQL also, create database demo. and then you can say that I am actually executing. So select SQL or whatever you want to do. So you are creating a database. So you just created one database and you will see the owner is account admin. This is not a good way to create a database because we should not be creating databases through account admin. It should be done through custom roles ideally. But since it is a very quick demo, so that's why I'm just showing you that we are in a particular role and we can see the owner, through this owner, we are creating a database. So the object owner is that particular role, right? Account admin is the owner for that particular role. But if you switch your role to some other role, then you can see the owner will change when you create that object. So by default, when you create any object in Snowflake, the owner is the role that is creating that object by default. So you can transfer this ownership to some other role also, but we'll not go there. We can have a separate session on Snowflake security. We can talk about the custom roles and everything. So in practice, in production, you will be creating your custom roles. You will not be working with default roles available. So these are the default roles available in Snowflake, but you will be creating your own custom roles. For example, interns are joining your company. You will be creating roles for interns. Let's say you have some training going on. So maybe you will create a role for training. Yeah. So let's say you are having auditor role, or you can create multiple roles here, custom roles, and you can assign privileges. Yeah, fine-grained privileges to those roles. So now, this is like one way to create database. There are like other things also, but we are talking about account admin. This is the highest role. So when you are using account admin role in Snowflake, you will see there is an account tab available. So this account tab is available only when you are account admin. So when you are account admin, then account tab is available, and within that you can see the usage. You can see how much usage we are having on each day, how much data we are storing, average storage, how much data transfer we are making. Let's say you are having a setup where we are having a prod and DR setup, and you are transferring data from one region to another region. So there will be data transfer charges also. So you can see like how much credits, how many credits we have spent, like how many credits we have used. So you can see this information also on the Snowflake. And then you can see the billing, you can see the users, you can see the roles that we are having. You can see the policies, you can blacklist some IP addresses, you can define network policies, you can define user policies. So all these things can be done. And then we have sessions, which all sessions are going on. Yeah, so you can see that. And then resource monitors. So you can set up quotas, you can set up alerts. Let's say you don't want data science team to use the warehouse so many credits. So you can set up alerts at the warehouse level, you can set up alerts at the account level. So resource monitors can be set up. And then we have reader account. Through the reader account, you can share data with those people who are not even Snowflake customers. So you can have like a reader account through which, like, let's say I'm working with another company which is not a Snowflake customer. So you want to share data with that company. It's possible to do that. Yeah. So there is a question now. Can you please send out the Snowflake playground link? So I hope you got it. Like the Snowflake, you can set up a trial account and you can easily work with that. There is another question. Are there tools to make an easy migration ingestion from data warehouse? Yes. So there are tools through which you can migrate to Snowflake, and you will find there are white papers available. On the Snowflake website itself, community, you will find a lot of discussions on migrations. So these are available, and even there are tools available, the third-party tools are available, which enable you to migrate data from Teradata and Netezza. So this is very common.
Avuk, just one thing. Someone else is asking while registering, which cloud provider should they select? Is there like...
Okay. So I choose AWS. It's fine. You can choose anyone because right now we are focusing on core capability of Snowflake. We are not integrating Snowflake with the external stage, or we are not integrating with some streaming pipeline in the cloud provider. So in case you just want to get started, you can choose any. It hardly matters because it's like agnostic as such. But specific places you will find, like when you are going to the stage, let's say. Then you will see the cloud provider related options will come. So let's say I'm within that. So if you're going to stage, then if you're creating a stage, I know I did not explain what is a stage, then the cloud provider specific things will come. But we will not be going into that since you are just getting started. So it will hardly matter. Yeah, so you can just choose any cloud provider. You just choose a region which is closest to you, right? So that will be easier. So I choose AWS right now. but it's fine. You can choose any cloud provider to work with Snowflake because it's all under the hood. You will not even see unless or until you start integrating with the SQS, or like you are building such event-based notification and then you are ingesting data into Snowflake. You are not building those pipelines right now. But if you are building those things, then you can choose the cloud provider where you think that data will be arriving from some other ETL job, let's say Spark, or some other application is writing data to some external stage, some S3 bucket, and then you can choose that specific cloud provider. Yeah. But it's fine for this demo. So we are talking about demo, like this database demo, and I hope everyone got it. Like this is one way. So we can go to the worksheet where we can write queries. So can you see there is a name which is called new worksheet? So I'm just giving demo for the meetup, right? So I'm just giving a name, demo for meetup. Yeah, so this is like, yes. So for deep dive, you can read the documentation, you can watch the videos, and also there are some blogs which we have published, like change data capture blog. So you can follow our LinkedIn page. There we publish a lot of interesting things on Snowflake. Like there are a lot of articles and blogs that we have published. So in case you are interested, you can just go to the LinkedIn Data Couch LinkedIn page where we share a lot of information. So let it load. It is taking some time. So after that, you can just go to Data Couch LinkedIn page, this one, and where you will find we share blogs also related to Snowflake. Okay, so coming back to this, you can follow those blogs, you can implement change data capture, some interesting use cases on Snowflake. And then I have a video on Snowflake, which is Snowflake Sharehouse. This is 1 hour video. This is like a dedicated topic, sharing data in Snowflake, how it works. So here I have done a lot of hands-on also, and here I have explained what is secure data sharing and how does it work. So I would encourage you to go through these videos also on our YouTube channel related to Snowflake. This is one sharing data sharing, and Snowflake is also called Sharehouse. We'll find how to work with that. Okay, coming back to this, coming back to the worksheet. So we were here in the worksheet. We can write queries. Yeah. So I just renamed this worksheet. You can have another worksheet. So when you type anything here, so then it will basically be able to retrieve results from the Snowflake database. So can you see? I don't have the demo database here because the demo database was created through account admin. Yeah. So I can specify. Let's say I have. Let's say I want to fire a query. So let's say we have use role. Yeah, so I can specify this. I can say that I want to use a role account admin. Yeah, and I can refresh this. Yeah, and here I see demo is here. But if I change my role, then I will not be able to see demo. So if I say use role, and I want to, let's say sysadmin, I'm changing my role. Maybe the font is very small. I can make it bigger so that you can see better. So I hope this is now legible. So when I change my role to sysadmin, then I will not be able to see. I will refresh. Yeah, so I change my role. I don't see demo because the demo database was created through account admin. So it is very important. Some objects will not be visible to you because your role is different. So you should use the right role so that the objects are visible. But creating objects through account admin is not a good idea. Yeah, but I'm just showing you how the default roles are and how the object owners can see the roles unless or until you grant permissions to that particular object. So let's say I'm going back to sysadmin. And this is like I'm going back to account admin. I want to compare few things here before we go into the sysadmin. So let's say I'm here. You will see there is demo database, and then we have Snowflake sample data. So what exactly it is? So can you see the icon for this database is different from this database? This database I created myself. Demo database I created myself in this meetup. But these two are sharing, like the data sharing. These are shares, right? So these are shares, and these are shared by someone else. So this is shared by Snowflake. It is part of the account setup. When I set up my account, like when I get my trial account, I get these databases, these shares. And can you see if I do mouse over, this tooltip shows me that this is a share in bracket. If you notice, there is a bracket. If I go to that bracket, then this tooltip will go, okay, no, it's there. You can see this is a share. So when I do mouse over and you see a tooltip and there is a share written, that means that it is clearly communicating you that this is a shared database. This database is not owned by you. You are not paying the cost of storage. It is like from Snowflake right now. It's part of the account setup. So you will be paying for the queries that you are running. So right now when you fire the query, then you will be paying for the query runtime cost. You are not paying for the storage that you are having. So this is the difference between shared data or like when you are owning your own database. So this is you are paying for the storage and you are paying for the queries that you are running here. But here you are paying only for the queries that you are running because data is being shared by someone else. Yeah. Okay, so you talked about roles, account admin. There is a question, I'm reading that question. So ideally, data warehouse solution requires involvement of more than one person. Absolutely. There are many roles in a data warehouse. So there will be database administrator. There will be like people from data warehousing team, or maybe a reporting team. There are people from business intelligence team. Maybe there are people from data science team. So there will be different roles in different teams. You can have a hierarchical structure and you can create your own like role-based access control, and you can have your own custom roles. Yeah, so single person will not be doing everything in Snowflake. There will be like depending on your responsibilities. Some people are only auditors. They have only view-only access. They cannot modify anything, right? So some people have ability to drop tables, right? So some people don't have like a lot of people, they don't have ability to drop tables, right? So depending on role, it will vary, Jayanti. So how secured is Snowflake? So that's a good question. So I would encourage you to, there is a white paper on Snowflake security. I would encourage you to go through that white paper, Snowflake security white paper. Just Google, you will find very interesting, like some interesting aspects are given, how keys are managed. So if you go to this white paper, and there are so many white papers, I'm answering this question in a more generic manner so that you get answers to 100 other questions, not just about Snowflake security. So if you go here, you will find there are interesting white papers. One white paper which is very interesting is semi-structured data. You must read that. And then there is a white paper on Snowflake security, and there is a white paper on data cloud. So you'll find there are different white papers. So just search for this white paper, you'll find security. And there is a summary, very nice summary given about security. So I would encourage you to read that white paper. And second thing is, like once you read that white paper, there is like a white paper on security. You can search here. If you are not able to find it, just ping me on LinkedIn. I will send you the link. So apart from that, from security perspective, you can see if you go to the various editions available in Snowflake. I want to show you the editions of Snowflake. There, let's say I open those editions. Yes, this is the editions of Snowflake. Okay, so let me go inside this editions of Snowflake. Okay, so once you go inside the editions of Snowflake, you will see there is a comparison. And there is a comparison with regards to various security and governance data protection features. So Joshua, so in case you are interested to know about security, I would encourage you to please go through the white paper and also refer to this particular documentation. So I'm just sending this link over the chat where you can see the PCI, support for PCI, support for PHI. Yeah, so a lot of banks and a lot of companies are using. You can see, in case you are interested to know, let's say whatever domain you are working, let's say you're working in banking domain, you go to Snowflake website, go to case studies, filter based on the domain that you are interested in, and then you will see which all banks have implemented Snowflake already, which all telecom customers have implemented Snowflake already. Yeah, so you will find a lot of interesting details on the case studies page, success stories. Is it correct to say Snowflake is a cloud version of system? Like, no. Actually, Oracle also has a cloud offering. So, you know, a lot of traditional data warehouses, like second generation, third generation data warehouses, try to bring their cloud offering. But Snowflake is a technology which is built from scratch, that is cloud native technology. And the patented nature, like, you know, the way it stores the data, it's in FDN files. FDN stands for like FDN is basically French name of Snowflake. Like if you search Snowflake in French, then you will get FDN, Follow de Negre, something like that. I'm not expert of French, but I'm just thinking aloud. Like Snowflake is basically like FDN format. This is a data like format, or this is a file format that we are having. It's a columnar format, and it's a patented technology of Snowflake. So it's something which is very much different from cloud offerings of other data warehouses that we are having. So it's built from scratch, and it's not something it is adding the features later on. It is built from scratch, and it is incorporating all the best practices that one data warehouse should have, modern data warehouse should have. Yeah, follow Kandi Nege. Very good, thank you. So I'm coming back here. So we have so many things to cover. Is it okay, Nathan, if we extend this session by?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to keep
15
going,
minutes.
if you have time, feel free. Just want
Yeah.
to let everyone know we've opened up the certificate form. So if that's something you're looking to receive and you need to drop off, please fill that out. But Pavuk, if you want to continue, please feel free to.
Sure. Thank you so much. So if you are looking at this, I would focus primarily on demo right now, yeah, so that you get a lot of value out of your participation here. So we see that we are able to we are able to switch the role to account admin, sysadmin, and then you can see I'm using account admin, and I see a different set of objects. Now within that, you can say I want to use the database, yeah. So I can say I want to use Snowflake. So can you see there is no type there is no search suggestion, or you can say if when you're typing, there are no hints coming here. But when I switch to the new interface, when you log into Snowflake, you will see this is the new interface, and you can create a worksheet here. So within that, when you are working with this new interface, then you can say use database, and then you can say Snowflake sample data. I want to use that. Yeah, can you see now hints are coming when you are typing? So this is the beauty of new interface. Yeah. So there is a question on is it correct to say that Snowflake got this fine and Snowflake provide data modeling? Okay, there is a question on data modeling. So provide data modeling too. Okay, very good. So Snowflake is a platform which gives you ability to model in your own way. So it is not giving any best practices to do data modeling in a certain manner. You can do data modeling in your own way. The way you do it in other data warehouses, you can do it on Snowflake. So if you search on Snowflake documentation anywhere, you will not find anything related to data modeling, because it's a platform which is a modern platform which is giving you high performance and reducing your cost and the overall the cloud benefits, the elasticity, scalability, and many other things. So it is not giving any recommendations related to data modeling. So you can do that. And there is another question, can you perform ETL in it? Yes, we can do ETL in it, but primarily it is a data warehouse, but it does provide ability to perform transformations. So you can perform transformations in Snowflake through stored procedures, through user-defined functions. You can perform transformations in Snowflake through maybe you can write your Spark queries through Spark connector. You can connect with Snowflake. You can do transformations through streams and tasks also, right? Tasks you can schedule, and through streams you can perform transformations. There are many ways through which transformations can be done, and you can extract data from raw table to a process table. You can do that, like ETL can be performed. But some companies, they prefer to have a dedicated ETL tools, like specifically you have Talent or Informatica. You can integrate those tools also with your data warehousing solution like Snowflake. That is also possible. So coming back here, so you can see when I'm running the query, I'm able to switch the database, and I can use the particular schema that I'm having. And this is my home. I can go back. So the beauty here is when I run my queries, I can see that when I run this query, this is use database. And then I say use this, then this is like use schema. Yeah. And then I'm saying, let's say I want which schemas we are having. So I can even see this is one schema, this is another schema. So these are different schemas that I'm having. So let's say I have this schema. So I'm choosing this schema when I'm executing. So can you see we have 3 versions? Yeah. So whenever I execute any query, then there is a new version which is created, and I want to go back to the previous version of the code. I can easily do that by switching the version. So let's say I type more, and then I'll show you the functionality of versioning. So this is fine, like you got it, like we are specifying the schema. And let's say I want to select minimum of a particular field, let's say minimum value of ship date. So let's say I have select star from, let's say I pick up one table. So maybe I need to see which table I am having. So this is SPDS, PPC, this is, let's say PPC CH, and then this is like SF10. So let's say I'm picking up this, and I say use this schema. And then after that, I want to pick up a table. So this table can be like, let's say I am picking a table line item. This is having 60 million rows. And I want to pick up, let's say I never do star in a data warehouse. This is not a good pattern. So I am specific to a particular field. So I want to find out minimum ship date. So this is a metadata-based query. When I run this query, I am able to find out the minimum ship date, and the runtime, it took like less than like around 100 millisecond. It took 100 millisecond to retrieve the minimum date. And you can also find out other attributes. Like for example, you want to find out the max or min or this database query. So these are very, very fast. So you will find I'm executing this query and there are so many versions created. You know, when you are working with Google Doc, then you will see a lot of versions are getting created and you can go back in time. Same thing. So what is the difference? This is like crux of this webinar. What is the difference between Snowflake and other data warehouses, traditional data warehouses? You know, one option is you send an email and share a Word document. So that is like one way of data sharing. But when you are working in Google Doc, then it's like storage on cloud, and you can have infinite storage on Google Doc. It's not limited. When you are sending an email and you're sending a Word document, then it is limited by size of the attachment, right? But when you are working on Google Drive, Google Doc, then it's infinite storage. Second benefit is when you're working in Google Doc, you have versioning. So same thing, you can say, we can go, let's say I want to go back to the initial version. So of the, can you see now, this is the initial version and I can switch back. Same thing, I can switch to the latest version. Yeah, so same thing, you can do time travel. You are able to do time travel and you are the owner of the data. Like in Google Doc, you are the owner of the data, but when you are sending an email, the owner is the one who is receiving that email, right? So that is through like email, you are sending the data, so you are losing the ownership. Yeah, so that's the same concept that I have covered here in my session related to the sharing, data sharing. So you can see in this, we have like hints coming where it will suggest the name of the table, name of the schema, name of the database. And then you have metadata-based queries. You can look at the query duration and you can see how much time it took to execute it. So even you can look at the query plan and other things. But I want to communicate here is like Snowflake, this is new interface, but you can switch back to classical console also, and you can see what limitations we were having, and the new interface is overcoming those limitations. So let's say you want to work with data in Snowflake and you are looking for telecom data, you are looking for medical data, you are looking for data specifically to your domain. So that is also possible. You can just go to the data marketplace and you can bring data from here. You can say explore data marketplace. You just need to sign in, and then you can have a share. So you can have a share from that particular domain, like you can have domain specific search. So I have explained all these things in a video, which is data sharing. So I would encourage you to watch that video where you will find interesting details, yeah, around data sharing. Yeah, so coming back to this, so we started with Snowflake basics, we started with Snowflake architecture, and then how do we work with Snowflake? So there are like a lot of tabs in Snowflake. Database tab we have seen, shares we have seen, data marketplace I just talked about that, and then warehouses is basically for compute. So I think this webinar we could not cover warehouses. This is like a very detailed topic. I need to explain a lot of things. Maybe we can have a subsequent webinar where we can start from here only. What are warehouses and how do we work with warehouses? How do we fire queries in more detail? So since time is limited, so that's why I'm just thinking like maybe let's take up some questions from the chat. And also I would encourage you to please connect with me on LinkedIn. So this is my LinkedIn URL, and there are links through which you can join our meetup channel also. And then we have company page where you can find, you can follow this company page where you will see a lot of interesting blogs and articles around Snowflake and many other areas. And then we have a YouTube channel. So let me pick up few questions. Is that okay, Nathan? If I can pick up few questions. And
yeah,
then...
let's just answer a few questions and then we'll let everybody be on their way.
Sure, Amrita, got it. Thank you, Nathan. So now there is a question. Is it correct to say, okay, this is fine. So let me scroll down. There are more questions. What is the difference between BigQuery and Snowflake, and how Snowflake is better? So, you know, costing model is different, and you need to see many things. Like when we compare BigQuery versus Snowflake, there are the way it charges. The BigQuery charges based on the amount of data that you process, right? So you pay for that. But in Snowflake, you are charged for the query runtime. So the comparing which one is like, there are many things, like whenever you choose a data warehouse, you have to have a kind of metrics that you have to create. You have to write down the factors based on which you are choosing a particular data warehouse. So it's not like very straightforward to say that this data warehouse is good or this data warehouse is good. So you have to write down the security requirements. So when I talk about security, so you need to go to which edition of Snowflake. You need to be very specific. Which edition of Snowflake we are talking about? Which security features you are talking about, right? So one thing is costing, another thing is security, another thing is performance. So you have to have all the functional, non-functional requirement. Do you have a lot of semi-structured data? Like what is the native support? Like what is your primary cloud provider? What is your cloud strategy? You have to write down all these requirements, and then you can compare what BigQuery is offering, what Snowflake is offering. And if you are comparing Synapse or any other data warehouse, you have to write down all these things, and then you can say, okay, this one works well for my use case, for my requirements, based on functional and non-functional things, and compliance, governance, and everything will come into picture. Overall, how it integrates with your partner ecosystem tools that you are having in your org, right? So multiple factors will come into picture. Yeah. So case sensitive thing. If you create a database, let's say I'm creating a database with lowercase or uppercase, it will always, let's say you can quickly see the demo also. If I just go to Snowflake again, and if you go to the Snowflake platform, sorry, I'm here. So if you just create, so it will not matter. Like if you do that. So if you are in worksheet and you are saying, let's say, if you write, let's say database, I'm using demo, is lowercase, or you write uppercase, no problem. It will be able to select. It is not like having any problem with this. Yeah. So uppercase or lowercase, it's fine. Specifically, this is identifiers that we are talking about. What happens to my data when registration ends and I stop paying? Okay, no problem. So there is a state in which account goes into inactive state. So that's a good question. When you log into Snowflake, then there is a check which is made, like if your account is in active state or inactive state. So if you're not paying, and then there are many things like which model you have chosen. Like are you paying for, let's say you have very first thing, before I answer this question, it is very important to understand the pricing model. So how the pricing works in Snowflake. So this is the pricing guide that we are having on Snowflake. So are you going for something which is like on-demand storage, or you are going for capacity storage? How the pricing works, right? And you can also see do you want to pay for usage month to month, or you want to pay usage upfront? So which pricing model you are choosing, right? So depending on that, right, you can have. So like your account may be in an active state, that is another state of account, and when you log into Snowflake, then it is all these checks are made. Can you alter, modify, insert, delete the table? Yes, it is possible. Would it be time travel to show data before? Yes. So time travel, you can do that in Snowflake. Yeah. So you can insert, but if you perform single row operations in Snowflake, then it will be very, very slow, because it is an OLAP. It's not designed for that. Specifically, it's a columnar storage. Yeah. So the purpose is different here. Okay. Any other question? Can you give outline on migration of legacy? So yes. So here, if you go to community, you will find like, can you tell me like which specific data warehouse you are targeting to migrate into Snowflake? Jayanti, if you can share. You can send me questions over LinkedIn. I can answer that, and then I can share more details about specific data warehouse that you are planning to migrate. Yeah. So thank you so much for attending the session. It was my pleasure and honor to have you all. Nathan, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Pavuk. I mean, with the number of questions we saw, I think everybody really enjoyed your session. So thank you for being here with us, and everyone, thank you for sticking around. I know we went a bit over time, and we've had the certificate available for probably about 20 minutes. So, but thank you for joining. Hopefully you fill out the form. Pavuk, thank you for being here. Join us tomorrow at noon Pacific time. We'll have Oscar Barufa with us, and he's going to be covering job hunting for data analysts. Oscar is a data specialist helping nonprofits achieve the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals, and is currently working in the international development sector, directing the development of full data and analytics pipelines. So if you're interested in the job market at all, join us with Oscar tomorrow, and I hope to see you there. Thanks again for joining. Thank you, Pavuk. We'll definitely talk about any upcoming webinars.
Thank you so much.